D'Angelo Monkfruit the Fourth, the architect, says, I'm glad you like it.
Hard to take these seriously.
No, you must take him seriously. A while back, he suggested that laymen should learn enough Greek to at least read the New Testament. So I offered to teach Greek to any man in my congregation, and one took me up on it. Which, victory, right? It's easier to teach one than to teach 10, believe it or not. I remember you talking about how you would not teach Greek the way we learned it at seminary, correct? Could you refresh me on your idea for how to learn Greek so I can help this man learn? I feel like I could teach it like we learned, but I'd rather not because it seemed, well, academic and not organic. Yeah, we learned from a fire hose. We learned like it was merely science. We learned like we were going to be tested on it. And it's important to be able to test yourself when you're reading. You want to know if you're understanding what you're reading, but it's not about taking chewing your food. It's not about taking tests. So here's what I would recommend. The first thing that needs to happen is he needs to learn the alphabet. This is something that I would make this something that he has to pursue on his own. There are two ways to do this. One is here's a list of the alphabet. Memorize the alphabet, and then start reading Greek out loud without any understanding, just pronouncing it so you learn the alphabet. That's the hard way. Heaven help us, I'm going to recommend the internet. Duolingo, heaven help us, they have a transhumanist agenda. Duolingo is a free language learning program that will teach you modern Greek, which I don't recommend he do any really learning of modern Greek, but if he wants to learn the alphabet, it will be the fastest way to learn the alphabet. It will teach you the alphabet incredibly quickly, a couple of days. You'll be able to pronounce the letters you point at, theta, and he's going to know what theta is. Phi, sorry, theta, phi. Start with that. Like that's his first step. It has to happen before you're really going to do any teaching. He has to self-learn the alphabet. From there, the next thing you do is you sit down and you just start reading together. I kind of recommend 1 John. Might do the Gospel of John. Why? Well, the grammar's not as tough. So maybe this helps understand that. Instead of teaching for grammar, trust the grammar will come. Teach for vocabulary. Teach for the meaning of words. Trust that if the organic learning of grammar, you're going to explain pieces of grammar at certain times, but let him latch onto concepts that are meaningful first. And everyone knows reading John chapter 1 in English is filled with like this powerful, meaningful, the word became flesh. Okay, well, once he can just learn to see the word logos and sarx, like he's going to be like, this is so cool. I want more, right? And so just open it up. Expect on day one that you're going to go through verse 1 and 2, and you're going to translate it, and then you be prepared to begin talking about kind of basic nouns and verbs. So if you're going to do prep for that particular verse, right, make sure you can parse the verbs that are there so that you can tell him one major idea about those verbs, right? Doesn't mean you're going to tell him how the pluperfect participle, second person singular masculine, and now you have to memorize all these different endings. Like, don't do that. Just talk about the difference between aorist and present, right? And say so. And then, since there is a common way of spotting aorist versus present, teach that. How do I know something's aorist and not present, right? And then that idea with the vocabulary of verses 1 and 2, right? And I would also, I'm just doing this from memory here, because in verse 1 there is a missing copula, I would talk about copula, the is, right? And how that can be there or not be there. But just going through that verse or two with the vocabulary and like just a piece of information to grab onto, and then the next time you build on it. Okay, so here, today we're going to talk about nominative and accusative endings on nouns, so pick the thing that's common. What's not common is all the endings you could memorize for this word, right? What is common is these two endings that show up all the time, nominative and accusative in the masculine noun model. There's 3 models of noun. You don't need to know the other ones now. This is the noun we're looking at. It's masculine. So there's 2 major entities that are going to show up. Well, I'll tell you about the genitive too, but don't worry about it. But I'll tell you about it. But we'll move on. Just grasp this idea. And so what happens then if you approach it for the, like, what's the most important piece of grammar, single piece of grammar that jumps out from this whole sentence, right? If you want to understand the most of the sentence, this one piece will help you kind of see it like a picture. You do that for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 weeks, and next thing you know, you're in a section, and he's like, oh, I kind of see the picture. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that's doing over there. It's all kind of weird, but I know what that is. I know what that is. Like, that must be an aorist verb. You're right. Or no, it's not, because it's one of those weird formations. Okay, whatever. But oh, I'm boring her.
Oh, sorry, no, you're not.
So that's I think that kind of gives you the trajectory.